Hi, my name is Raquel. In order to buy or sell, you have to have the money of the beast on your mind or in your hand. It's one of those words that they don't translate correctly. It's in the Apocalypse, which is like a kind of a strange book because it only mentions Jesus in the beginning and end of it, and the rest of it is kind of mysterious. And they talk about no one buying or selling with the money of the beast on their mind or in their hand. They say it's the mark of the beast, but the word charagma, you can see in the unabridged Greek-English lexicon, means the impress on the coin or stamp money coin. And there you can see they talk about the apocalypse here, the serpent's mark. But like Plutarch wrote about the same time that the book of Revelations was written. And so did Antipater Thessalonius. It was current in the, the 6th century A.D. And then, like I said, they lived around the time that the book of Revelation was written. And the time that Nero lived, Nero had his picture on the coins. And if you take the number 666, it'll spell money, because there's, like, in the Greek language, the numbers are letters, like A equals B and B equals uh-oh. This was my campaign brochure. I ran for state representative back in the year 2000. But you can find all the stuff on my website there at 666isMONEY. It's been a real crazy week, with these riots in Egypt. That's the most scary thing. I hate to be living in Israel right now, but Israel has a lot of bad karma from invading that place. It's because of their fanatic religion. They just believe that God gave them that land, and it's like a myth and a fairy tale. And so now they're right in the center of this Arab uprising in Egypt and all those places. I can't even believe that Libya is having some disgruntlement against Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi believed in eliminating money. I'm trying to find where that is. I have it in my big book. He says it almost exactly the same way that Karl Marx did in one of these books he wrote. There it is, The Principles of Communism. It's actually Friedrich Engels who wrote The Principles of Communism, but this is usually the preface to the Communist Manifesto. At least I've seen it there before. And Gaddafi wrote in the Green Book that when society reaches a certain stage, profit and money will disappear. It's like when you have enough production, there's no reason to have to divvy and hoard. And so communist society will know nothing of money. And that was by Nikolai Bukharin, who wrote The ABCs of Communism. So a lot of people don't understand what a real communist is. A communist believes in eliminating money. And so did Jesus and a lot of other famous people. St. Francis of Assisi told his disciples to not go forth with any money. And I don't know. I just can't believe that some of these things are happening in the world. It's all coming to hit the fan. And the global warming and all this other stuff. This is like they're showing how these heavy rainstorms and floods are all related to global warming, because the atmosphere is warmer, it can hold more moisture, so that they're having floods everywhere. And it's about, but the worst problem is this budget and how Obama is trying to come to some terms with the budget so that people will get their pensions that they promised and stuff like that. I'm just really scared about the way things are going because it's kind of not really sustainable. There's just too many people in the world, which was what this was about. There's like the doubling of the population geometrically. It's like with percentages. If you compound interest and all that, it just eventually catches up. And all these smart people in the world have realized, well, you don't have to be smart, but a mathematician, or just about anybody who understands what's going on here is just like, it's going to hit the fan, and all these rich people know it. And they're responsible for blowing up the World Trade Center. You can see this pyroclastic cloud here, and looks like could have been like some people say that there was, well, I don't believe it, that there was like a nuclear bomb in there, because if there was a nuclear bomb, there would be radioactivity around there. And so there must have been some kind of new bomb they put in there to pulverize everything. If you look at the pictures of Ground Zero right after the explosion, you can, there's hardly anything there. It's been pulverized, all the concrete and glass and everything. The only thing that was left were these big heavy steel beams. But you can go to my website and find out more about this 9/11 fraud. And then of course this building number 7 came down that same day that the 2 World Trade Centers fell. And you can see how the building, just 2 seconds later and then 3 seconds later, it's going down just like a controlled demolition. And no airplane crashed into this. It was like the CIA headquarters too, in New York City. There was a lot of, it was like the headquarters for the Security and Exchange Commission and a bunch of other federal government things. They were looking into corruption on Wall Street. And that's about the same time that all this bad stuff happened in the economy to destroy everything and just make it miserable for everybody. I mean, like ever since World War II, this world has just kept getting much worse. It just like can't go on like this because, well, there's not enough people actually working. They were saying today that there's just not enough people doing the work. And so if you were smart, you'd get out of Babylon. That's what you need to do. This is Babylon is a city of commerce and confusion. That's a good movie, Loose Change, 9/11. You should Google that and check it out. That's the gospel of eliminating money. There's so many famous people that have believed in eliminating money, but the word mammon is an Aramaic word that means money. Jesus said you can't serve God or mammon. You'll either love the one or hate the other, or hold to the one and despise the other. But they don't translate that word correctly. Mammon, it means money. The New English Bible tells you that, the New English version. But it's kind of, I tried to edit the Wikipedia article on this to show it, and but like in the Hebrew language, mammon means fortune. It means riches. And this is from the Hastings Encyclopedia of Religion and Ethics. It was published like 1904 or so. I can't remember, but 1919. It's a real old book, and you can find it like They used to have it at the Tucson Public Library. I don't know if they still do. But, need to, these religious Christians, Jesus Christ came and rebuked them for being hypocrites. And that's basically what all these religious ministers are. Is, they lie about Israel and say that those are God's chosen people and that they have to have this. Well, I guess they do in a way. I mean, if those Islamic people had their way, it would be a real bad world. They're so repressive and like animals. I mean, you saw what they did to that woman, what's her name? That news reporter in Egypt. She was like molested during those revolution over there, and they called her a Jew. They thought she was a Jew, and they said that she was raped, but I don't think they could do that in public. And from what I've read, it was just, well, not just, but it was pretty bad what they did, and that they were like animals. I mean, that's so bad to do, but you figure these people that live in Egypt, a lot of them are living with their parents because they only can earn $2 a day, and they love to have babies. These Islamic people, and I just found a bunch of old graphs I had. It shows, we can show this Mexican population. I had a really good one. I just was going to show it to you. Here it is. It compares the Latin American population to the United States, or North American. And you can see there, this is the Latin American and Caribbean countries. And then this is North America here. And down in 1950, they started off with 166 million people. And then North America's population went like that in the year 2020. And they're going to have twice as many in Latin America. And I had one for Mexico here that I made these a long time ago. Here it is. And the Mexican population in 1940 was 19.6 million. And then in the year 2000, they're going to have 100 million people there. That's about a third of what we have here in the United States. And here's my original U.S. population graph showing how it went from 1790, and this is 2090, when they predict there could be 1 billion people here. So a lot of people listening to me today will be living in the United States with 1.2 billion people in it if we continue to allow immigrants. That's what this graph, that's what that is here. And if we had 0 immigrants, then we'd follow this trajectory here and have less than 400 million in 2090. And then this is the low prediction down here. And that would be probably no immigrants and something else too, like a pandemic or a plague or something. There was an article in the New York Times that was saying that the judges are going to get a book on how to deal with catastrophes. And like if they have to quarantine people or confiscate your property, the courts would be clogged with cases. And so I don't know, that was just, they're preparing for urban warfare. They build a big city somewhere out near San Diego where they are practicing urban warfare. So, I mean, it's like, how much longer can people be unemployed and with not much hope of a good paying job? That's the problem over in Egypt. These kids over there were living with their parents and couldn't earn more than $2 a day, so they had no hope of getting married or having children, and that's why they were so rude to that news reporter over there. I mean, not making excuses for them, but that's what they're going through there, and they believe this crazy Allah, this guy will, I mean, but their problem is, as I was saying, is that in the Middle East there, they have a very high birth rate. Let's see if I can find it on this graph here. Africa, North Africa. Let's see if I can find the population chart for Asia, world population. Here it is. Well, that's not really the Middle East necessarily. But, wow, in 1950 they had 50 million people, less than 50 million. And then they're going to have 200 million in the year 2020. That's not too far from now. And I read an article or a letter to the editor in the New York Times, and this person said they left Egypt in 1970 or 77, I think it was, because they could see the writing on the wall, how the population is just exploding there. And there was a really good book back in the 60s called The Population Bomb. I think it was by Paul Ehrlich. And my mom got me started on that. She bought the book and had it in the basement, and I just looking at books down there and saw that and asked my mom about it, and so she explained to me what the population bomb was all about. Because she was one of these early doomsdayers. My mom was a doomsdayer. She read books like The Club of Rome and some of these other ones. I can't remember them. But yeah, this Muslim religion is, especially over there in Afghanistan, it's like they've got all that opium there, and all that opium came there from after we lost the Vietnam War, they went over there. Well, it's been a pretty hard week, I tell you. It's just been working so hard on that house over there. It just took all the energy out of me. So it's just like stuck in Babylon. I'm in ground zero Babylon here, and it's just not making any sense. I mean, people need to wake up and realize that there could be a better way than this, and it doesn't have to be this way. It's just this way because you were brought, you don't know an alternative is the problem. You need to figure out, like, the smartest people in the world have all believed in eliminating money. And you can go to my website and find some quotations of famous people who believed in eliminating money. And you can also find out more about this 9/11 fraud that got us involved in these Mideast wars, because Israel knows that demographically it's not going to keep on going like this. There's going to be so many of these people. I mean, Egypt was just waiting to happen. I don't know what poor little Israel can do, but it's like some of these Christians really believe that those are God's chosen people, and we can't, if you don't do good for Israel, God will punish you. It says that somewhere in Isaiah. And these idiot, stupid Christians believe that fairy tale, just like these Muslims believe theirs. And so that's really the problem in this world. It's these irrational religions. Jesus was the logos or logic of God, but they don't want to tell you that either. That's one of those words they don't translate correctly. Oh, where is that thing? It's on, let's see. It's on the back of my Charagma. Oh, I lost it. It fell on the floor. Here it is. I tell you, it's just like, it seems so hopeless. I'm not kidding. The news keeps getting worse and worse. And the price of oil goes up. You know, it costs like $50 to fill my gas tank up. And you know, I mean, it takes a lot of money away from people's paychecks. And especially if you have to commute really far. And this whole city wasn't designed for, it was designed for cars and suburbs and consumption. And all this asphalt isn't good, and burning all this oil. So, like, you know, if we can learn to live without doing that, you know, and people, I mean, there's no work. What are you going to do? They sit around and get high, and as long as they don't hurt anybody. But, you know, if they just paid 2 cents or more per pound for tomatoes, you could pay the pickers $24,000 a year, or for doing the job. I think it's a year. I don't know. They can pick them year-round in Florida. Yeah. So I mean, you know, this third world nation besides us here in Mexico they've got such a bad population growth down there that they've been escaping up here so they can find decent jobs. I mean, they don't earn much down there, and you know, it's like, wow, you know, this world's so messed up, and unless something happens, I mean, it can't go on like this. And Adolf Hitler said that things cannot go on like this. They had hyperinflation, but they also had high unemployment too. But he turned his country around before Roosevelt ever did. And all he wanted to do was get rid of these fanatic religious nuts they had there. You know, when Hitler first went into Austria, he noticed all these guys wearing caftan coats and had long beards and dreadlocks and stuff. And he was wondering, what's this? You know, I mean, the hippies were peace and love, but what were these Jews up to? And so that's why he didn't like them very much. He didn't understand their crazy, stupid religion. I mean, they show a picture in here of these two little boys looking. I mean, here they are studying the Talmud. I mean, what a waste of time. You know, I mean, what does the Talmud say? And here's a Jew pretending to be a Christian. And they're going to take the farm away from him. And then he's trying to sell her some bad linen. Well, I don't know that one. He's trying to give those kids the doctor. I'm trying to find this one where they're ritually. Here the two lawyers screw the person, both people, the defendant and the plaintiff. Oh, here they are, the kosher slaughtering of animals. You know, they have to cut his throat. But they say that's a humane method to do it. But I mean, you shouldn't be eating animals. It's not a good thing to do. Oh gosh. But, you know, I mean, it's the karma, too, of America. You know, the CIA killed John Kennedy. And ever since World War II, as we've gone downhill, World War II is a big mistake. It never should have happened. You know, it's like then you know, Hitler wanted to send him to Madagascar, and I was just reading that the president of Madagascar the ex-president might go back there, and they might kill him too. And I forgot why he left, but it didn't sound to me like a good idea to go back there. But there's some good books about 9/11, especially this World Trade Center 7. That's where you need to look. Anyway, my name is Raquel. In order to buy or sell, you have to have the money of the beast on your mind or in your hand. Bye.